Okay, so we finish our first accounting book, journal 日记簿. Did you find out? Our journal 日记簿 we based on what? Date, right? So did you find out? We based on the date. So October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 20th, 26th, 31st. So did you find out we based on the date, trying to recode every transactions we have, right? But why we need a second book? So right now we are going to tell you how to recode our second book. Because you look at the first book right here. If your manager asks you, "Hi, Carl. Carl. Not here? Okay, Carl not here. Doris. Hi, Doris. Look at the first accounting book. Could you tell me, for company, how much money cash we have right now? After whole transactions, I want to know the balance of the cash, the final amount of the cash. What's the cash numbers we have right now? Look at the first accounting book. Could you tell me the final amount? Sean, not here, right? Sean, not here. Bella. Hi, Bella. Look at the first accounting book. Could you tell me the cash balance, the final amount of cash? What's the cash after whole transactions we have right now? You're going to say, give me 10 minutes. Why? Because I need a calculator to compute it, right? Yeah, manager going to say what? Okay, I give you 10 minutes. What? To pack your stuff. You can leave the work. Okay? So why we need a second book? Because based on the first book, companies, they cannot wait for you. Managers want the answer. You should give the answer now. You cannot tell them, give me 10 minutes. Now the manager is going to say, I give you 10 minutes. You can pay your package, your stuff, and you can go home. You're fired. Okay? So we need a second book because you just look at the first book. You cannot answer managers' questions right now. Okay? So we try to answer managers' answers. That's why we need a second book. Okay? So the second book is on your slide, page 40. Your textbook 2-11. The second book is Ledger. So Ledger is our second book. Based on what? Based on account. Why? Like what? I asked Doris, I asked Bella, what's the cash balance, right? So what's the cash we have right now? So usually the manager, the company asks you is about, what's our cash? What's our accounts payable? What's our accounts receivable? What's our equipment, right? So usually they ask you the question is about account. So we need a second book trying to summarize all the data based on accounts. 科目. So not based on date, it's based on account. Like what? Cash, accounts receivables, accounts payable, equipment, supplies, so on. Okay, so we try to summarize all the data based on accounts in order to answer the questions. Okay. Okay. So when we summarize all the data based on accounts, then we know the balance. See? The manager asks you, what's our final number, your balance. We know the changes. What's the reasons make our have these final numbers? So we could know the balance, we know the changes. It's like what? Like a T account, right? For example, for the cash, I know the changes. So what happened? Like a 10, 5, 8, for example. So this is our changes. We know what happened. Oh, during the whole process, during the whole periods, our cash increased 10, decreased 5, increased 8. And got cash $10, $8. I also pay cash $5. Okay. And in the end, I know the balance. $13. Okay. So I know the balance. 余额 Okay. So this is the purpose for our second book. We know the changes. We know our final amount. So look at the second book when manager asks you question. Hi, Doris. So right now, what's the cash the company have? Sorry, 13, right? Why we have cash only 13? What's the why? Because what? Sorry, 5 and here. So could you answer the questions now? Yes, right? So that's our purpose for our second book. After this, I can answer managers any questions. Okay? So there's a there's a ledger 分类账. Our second book, our purpose is right here. Okay? So each account, they have their own pages. Okay? So one page for one account because you are going to ask each questions for managers. Okay, so each account have their own page. So what's the format? So this is the format for each page. Okay, so it's on your slide 42nd, textbook 2-12. Again, always first column here told you based on account, right? So sorry, here you should tell them which account, right? Because our purpose is based on account to answer all questions. So this page about the cash, I know all the numbers here is about the cash, right? And first column, sorry, not the first column. For each account, they have their own number. It's like what? Do you have a student ID? Right? So each one, you have a student ID number. The same for each account, they have their own number, but you don't need to mirror. You don't need to remember the number. It's like what? Different school, they will give different student ID number to each student, right? So the same for company, they will give different number to each account. So you don't need to memorize it because each company, they have their own table, we call it chart of account, 会计科目表 chart of account, 会计科目表. So each company, they have this table to tell you, oh, my cash, which number? My accounts receivable, which number? Okay. The same for school. So don't need to memorize it. It's not. Okay. Here, just let you understand we have this kind of thing, but don't need to memorize it. You don't need to. Okay. So go to slide page 45. So based on account, we know is cash. For each account, they have their own number. Then the format always first column is date. We should tell them which date what happened. Okay. And do we need account? No more. Why? Because this page always about cash. Okay. So we don't need to tell them which account anymore right here. Explanation tell you, oh, if you want to give it more detailed information, you could use explanation to give it detailed information. But for you guys, you could skip this part. Reference. This means reference. 所以 means you could find out where you could find out more information. Where can find, can get more information. Okay, so reference means where you can get more information, but for you guys still, you can skip this part. It's okay. Alright, so based on cash, don't forget, always we have a debit and credit. So here told you debit means left, right? So we have a debit means left. We have a credit means right. And don't forget, for second book, what's our most important part? We want to know the final amount, right? So for each transaction, we still want to know the final amount balance because in case manager asks you questions anytime, right? So we need to summarize to get the final amount anytime. So we have a balance 余额. So balance 余额 for each date, each transaction. On each transaction. Okay, so the second book is a little bit different. We have a debit credit. Also, we need a balance 余额 because we need the number information to answer manager's questions anytime. Any questions? Remember this page about cash. So all the number here is about cash. All right. So all the number here is about the cash. So could you tell me for cash, debit, asset, right? So you should understand it means what? Purse, right? Cash, asset, and credit means what? Minus, right? So even though we don't have plus minus in front of numbers, you have to understand what happened, right? So first transaction on June 1st, my cash, what happened? Increase, right? So means what? Okay, after this transaction, I have cash $25,000, right? Second transaction, what happened? June 2nd, your cash decrease. So you pay the cash $8,000, right? So balance means what? After one transaction, I have $25,000. After second transaction, I pay cash 8,000, right? So in the end, the final amount on June 2nd, how much? I have cash only $7,800. Okay? So after you pay $8,000, I have cash $17,000. Okay? So could you answer manager's questions anytime? Yes. Okay. Any questions? No problem. Okay, so that's the format for each account. Then how to get the numbers, how to put the numbers on each account on each page. We use the process to transfer the data from first book journal to the second book. Okay, the process transfer the data from first book journal 日记簿 or second book ledger 分类账. The process we call it posting 过账. Okay, so posting 过账 is the activity we do. Posting 过账. Also post to. Post to. So transfer your first book journal entry, your first book, right? Transfer data from your first book to your second book. The process we call it posting 过账. Okay? Forget what's our purpose. We try to know the balance, the changes for each account, right? So the purpose we try to know for each account the balance and the changes. So here told you accumulates the effects. So accumulates the effect means we want to know the balance, the final amount. For individual accounts. Like what? Like a cash, accounts receivables, equipment, so on. Okay? Okay. So here is the process we've done so far today. Based on the date, we prepare our first book journal, right? So each date, debit, credit, debit, credit, debit, credit, we know record the transactions based on the date. But in case managers ask you questions anytime, so we transfer the data to our second book, ledger, 分类账. So the process we call it posting 过账. Okay? So post the data from journal first book to our second book, ledger 分类账. Okay? So based on what? Each account. So each account, cash, equipment, accounts payable, service revenue, so on, so on, so on. Each account, we know the changes. And don't forget, we want to know the final amount balance. Okay, so we have a debit, credit. Also, we have the balance for each account in case to answer managers any questions. Okay, when you get the final amount, how to double check the final amount? Maybe is on the correct side. We use normal balance, 正常余额, right? So normal balance usually on which side? Positive, right? So cash is our asset. You should find out the balance on debit side. Then it's normal. Accounts payable is liability, positive on credit. So you should find out the balance on credit side, then it's normal. Okay? Service revenue, positive on your right side, credit side. So you should find out the balance on credit side, then it's normal. Okay? So after you get the balance, don't forget to double check it in case you made some mistake during the whole process. Okay? Any questions? So I know, okay, normal balance, normal balance, normal balance. Okay, so maybe it's correct. Any questions? Then how to transfer the data from first book to second book. Quite simple. Always debit first, credit later. Like what? Lady first. So debit first. So on your slide, page 50, textbook 2-13. Based on each transaction from your first book to your second book. So always debit first, credit later. So this transaction from your journal first book on September 1st. Debit cash, credit share capital, right? So debit first, look at the debit cash. So I know cash, how much? Debit, $15,000. Open your second book. Second book on cash, this account. So you just write down the data, okay? So cash date, which date? September 1st, right? So write down September 1st. Explanation reference, you can skip it, okay? You can skip it. So debit $15,000, okay? So I got $15,000. Right now, only one transaction. So what's the balance? $15,000, okay? Then finish debit, go to credit. So what's the credit? Share capital, right? So go to second book, find out share capital, this account. Date, write down September 1st. Skip explanation and reference is okay for you guys. So credit, what? $15,000. Then so far one transaction. So what's the balance? $15,000. Okay. If I have another transaction, then here told you cash September 2nd, credit $10,000. Okay. Then balance should be how much? 5,000, right? Okay. Any questions? No problem. Okay, so this is how we transfer data from first book to second book. So did you find out? It's not that difficult. So always the most important part is your chapter 1. Chapter 2, you just do the repeat things. You don't need to think too much. So maybe you are going to ask, okay, so this is second book ledger like this way. So what's the difference from T account? Because here, did you find out? From here, slide page 47, when I mention second book, I use T account. So ledger and T account actually the same. Did you find out debit, credit, and balance? So debit, credit, balance, the same. So T account and ledger, they are the same. The only difference is formal way and informal way. So this is formal way. Open the book. I have first column, second, third, fourth, fifth, last column. Okay, so that's a formal way. T account is informal way. So when you practice, you do your math in private, you use T account is more simple, easy way. Okay, so the same formal or informal way. That's it. Others totally the same. Okay, any questions? So not that difficult, right? So let's go to your handout. Here, we had the first book right here, right? So based on the first book, please go to your next page, 12. Transfer post to your second book, ledger. So did you find out here? Second book, ledger is formal way. T account is informal way. Okay, so for you guys, it's simple. Just use T account. So this is our second book. Okay, so please finish. Post finish based on your first book, page 11. Then post to your second book on page 12. Page 12. Page 12. And show you one tier account for your reference. Please remember, you should write down the date. And here is debit side, right? So debit. Here is credit side, right? And also, don't forget to write down the date. And the most important part is what? Don't forget, you need the balance. Okay, so here for your reference, how to write down, how to transfer the data from first book to second book. Don't forget, we need that debit, credit, balance, right? Based on each transaction, debit first, credit later, okay? So finish one transaction, go to second transaction. Look at the page 11. Then based on the page 11, look at the first one first. So look at the first transaction. Okay, I have a debit cash. I have a credit share capital, right? So look at the first transaction right here. Then go to your second book. Just copy the data from first transaction. Finish one transaction, go to next one. Okay? Each by each. One transaction by another transaction. Okay? Okay, finish it. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. 1 minute. For our class, you can just use informal way T account. It's easier for you guys. If you want to use formal way, you have to draw a second book. So depends on you. But I think T account, you understand the concept is enough for you guys. So informal way for our class is okay. Okay. So Winslow, are you done? Okay, right now I'm the manager, you are the staff. I want to ask you a question. So, surprise, how many surprise we have on the last day of October? 2,500, right? Okay, thank you. Then, Nikki. Hi, Nikki. So, on our service revenue, our company our company got the cash but haven't done anything yet. What's our liabilities on the last day? $1,200, right? Okay. So right now I know a surprise. 2,000. I know surprise. $2,500. I know my unearned service revenue. I still have this kind of liability. 1,200. Okay. About share capital is $10,000. Okay. Then next one, Evelyn. Evelyn, how about our prepaid insurance? We pay the money to buy insurance, but on the last day, how many insurance our company still have? 600, okay? So we still have prepaid insurance, 600. William, so how about equipment? How many equipment our company still have? 5,000, okay? So we still have equipment, $5,000. So prepaid insurance, our company on last day of October still have $600 for insurance. We have a dividends $500. So what does it mean? We share the profit with the shareholder $500 this month. Okay? How about service revenue? Timmy, Timmy, yeah. Service revenue. How much of revenue we earn this month? So we earn the service revenue how much? $10,000. Okay. So equipment, our company have a equipment $5,000. Our company have a service revenue $10,000. So this month our company worked hard to earn the revenue $10,000. Okay. Wesley, Hi, Wesley. So how about notes payables? We owe their money with written promises. How much? 5,000. Okay. So, Darren, not here. Evan, where's Evan? Evan. So how about salaries and wages expenses? We ask employees work for us this month. How much? Okay, team. How much we ask employees work for us this month? Salaries and wages expenses. 4,000. Okay. So this month we have notes payable $5,000. What does it mean? This month we owed the bank creditors money with written promises $5,000, and we ask employees work for us this month $4,000. Okay, so remember they ask for you, the employees $4,000, expenses incur $4,000. So maybe you has asked. Next question is, did you pay the salaries yet or not yet? Okay. So rent expenses, how much? $9,000. Any questions? So right now there's a second book. The old data we have for your second book. Okay. So we transfer the data from first book journal to our second book ledger T account. The purpose is what? We want to know the changes, and also we want to know the balance. So based on the balance, did you find out when manager asks you questions? I ask you questions anytime. Could you answer me? Yes. Okay. So you keep your job. Whew, lucky. Okay. You don't need to go home fired. Any questions? Okay, that's for today. That's it. And hope you have any questions for your quiz on Thursday afternoon. Ask me questions anytime. Okay, you can email me and send me the message or call me any way you need. Okay.